Tell you what, as the Scots would say, in my south-facing room, it's actually cooler outside in the corridor. The cooler air's out there. Right, how do we do this? 1, 2, 3. Right, there we go. Well, these words... Oh, I've forgotten. Yes, I've got my own cameraman now, haven't I? It's good because it's steady cam now. Just whack that in. There's some... I'll get it into my brain eventually. How to do this slightly more elegantly. There we go. Right. Funny those lighting up there. Those are lights. Funny. Anyway, there we are. Right. Get myself organised. Oh, Lord. Now, inasmuch as we aspire to Christ likeness, so Christ is our example, our guide, our everything. Unbelievably, this little tea light bought at Tesco's, you get 100 tea lights for £2. That is 2p a tea light. Well, even in old money, how do they make? It's got aluminium, wax, a little structure at the bottom to hold the wick and everything. Right, this passage. Jesus before Pilate. It's Matthew chapter 27, verses 11 to 12 only. Meanwhile, Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Yes, it is as you say," Jesus replied. When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, "Don't you hear the testimony they are bringing against you?" But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor. Well, I'm not equating my little doings, quite frankly, to the crucifixion of Christ, so that's just a clear statement. But I've been getting all fired up and about my little stuff. Well, perhaps the best answer to this nonsense is just to look them in the eye and make no reply. Quite frankly, I've done nothing wrong. They're not the high priests, whoever's accusing me, the authorities, the police, everyone else, what they're up to. Who cares, quite frankly? I mean, it's, in the scale of things, just a storm in a teacup, quite frankly. It happens to making a bit of a car crash of my life, but you know, I had a friend in the Highlands, he'd say, "Well, part of life's gay pageant." He's died, actually. Jim Bryce, he was a teacher in Perth, and then he moved up to Dingwall, and Rothshire, and I shared his house, had a room in his house for a while. I believe it's a sort of royal way of responding. I think Princess Anne probably highlighted this, but don't complain and don't explain. Just look them in the eye and walk away from them quite frankly. So I'm definitely calming down. I was just angry this morning. I don't want to be a nasty, angry old blooming fellow. See the latest health secretary self-isolating with COVID in England. Right, well, I think that's it really. Just, yes, I'll explain to my solicitor. I'm going to keep digging away at the police during office hours. I'm sure there's a religious hatred, persecution element in this. If I didn't wander around in a Christian tunic, I'm sure none of this would have happened, basically. People are frightened of it. So, far from receiving a welcome in Northumbria, I've received an absolute very hard kick in the old cojones. All round. Fortunately, I've got steel-plated cojones. And I don't have a heart, obviously, so that's fine as well. So no feelings there. Be like the Tin Man in Yellow Brick Road thing, whatever it was. With Judy Garland sang so beautifully, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Right, ramble. Well, that's pretty serious stuff. I've just avoided being stuffed into jail, prison rather, for 3 months. Twice, actually. That was my poor solicitor. Well, both the older one, whom I've dispensed with, and this young lass. Well, she's married. So can't be so young. Looks young. Sorry. It's like policemen, they all look so young. I wonder why. Oh, am I getting older? Is that what it is? Oh dear. Well, I mean, it's a pretty nasty, just dirty, nasty little affair, quite frankly. Drugs, accusations, paedophilia, accusations, neighbours, allegations, children thwacking. Pretty nasty, really. Nasty, dirty business. So I wash my hands of it. Puff, let it go. Whatever happens, These people can't win. And the theme has been throughout that God, I believe, has led me to Alnwick in Northumbria. And then I suppose one simply has to accept that actually, all this was kind of lined up, just waiting for me to arrive to kind of set the thing in motion. From God's perspective, that would appear to be the case, quite frankly. If I were trying to look at what's happened to me through God's eyes, as I've already said in an earlier film today, the people had to be there, the house had to be there, the nice, quiet, little, peaceful square, which is what it is when the people aren't around, 40 plus residents, 40 dwellings of 60 plus residents. It was just lovely. You came off the main high street and suddenly there you were, and the traffic noise disappeared, and I could walk to Morrison's. I think I made a film on the first Sunday I was there, and there's just this great big smile in me. Well, I'm afraid that has rather been I could hardly smile about what's going on at present. It's pretty damn serious stuff, quite frankly. So, nastiness in Northumbria, quite frankly. The police are definitely a part of the equation. If they'd reacted in an appropriate manner earlier, they were virtually encouraging this woman to tell more lies by arresting me. Well, come on. You tell one lie, the man gets arrested. Well, that's rather fun. So she tells another lie, man gets arrested. Oh, I say, it works. She tells another lie. Third time I'm arrested. Oh, this is rather fun. All I have to do is tell some lies. That man gets arrested. Well, that is the police's fault. Instead of what it should have been, if the world were in any way sensible and normal, someone comes knocking on your window, looking through the window, calling you a paedophile, I think you've got justifiable reason for complaint of harassment. Well, wouldn't you think the police ought to do something about it? Well, I do. In any sort of England I live in. Well, I do rather have to point this out. Seemingly, the police clearly don't understand normal policing, whether or not they're involved with the drugs business. Quite frankly. Old Sister Moon up there, the seagulls. I can see the sea now. I know it's the sea because I didn't see that it was the sea in the first instance. There was a boat going by earlier, actually. On these magic machines, I took a screenshot or shot picture of it and then zoomed. And you can quite clearly see a white sail off there. In the past, this simply didn't occur to me. I really do go about my life in a peaceful, gentle manner. I am a very gentle, peaceful spirit. I know I am. At heart, there is a problem when the other fella treads on my toes. Calling a man a paedophile, I'm afraid, is not going to bring out the nicest reaction. It really isn't. Certainly not for me. But in spite of that, I had actually gone stumm with these people. I'd suss they're just nasty, vicious little people and just ignore them, basically. And then the whole situation where I was caught, I was entrapped, quite frankly, set up with the Polish neighbour in the flat of the person for whom I'd bought a motor car to try and help her, as it were, on her way. She's telling me, bog off. We've just experienced a near-death experience together. And the person who opened the door was that Polish neighbour. Well, I don't think so. I'm hardly going to respond well to that. Well, quite frankly, I think I did respond rather well. I said a rather strong phrase, which I believe is in fact true. I shall not repeat it. And I tried to walk off, and they tried to block my way. I never even contemplated thwacking them. I mean, it's just unthinkable. I don't wander around with the staff sort of thinking, who can I thwack next? It's not why I have a staff. It's to rest my poor old head on. If people perceive it as something else, well, that really is their problem. It's evil. What is happening to me at present is evil. The people who perpetrated it, in the first instance, actually, the Scottish neighbour who betrayed me, the Polish woman who was in her flat, and then the police reaction to all of this, given that there'd been several weeks of harassment against me preceding it by those same people, or that same, not the Scottish one. Well, so I'm afraid I'm not up to, well, I don't know. Christ knew who he was. He knew what was to become him. I'm just another human being trying to get on with my life in a sort of vaguely normal manner, in a country which is vaguely normal. And this country, England, is not normal. It is not normal anymore. It simply is not. This friend of mine is telling me that we're living I don't know what a woke generation is, but apparently that's what we're living in. I mean, the least sort of utterance which isn't absolutely politically correct, you can be had up for this and that and the other thing. Well, it's not the world I grew up in, that's for sure. The First World War, the war to end all wars, in which my own father fought. Those men died, mostly men. People died, innocent civilians, countless of them. The war to end all wars, well, for what? For what we've got now? Well, it stinks, it sucks. Yes, we have material comfort, by and large. The West is, in comparison to much of the rest of the world, or the third world, obviously very materially well off. Fresh, clean drinking water being one of the big matters. And, though, there's freedom of speech. People have fought for freedom of speech for centuries. And now, apparently, we no longer have it. It's being eroded. You've got to pussyfoot around with every last little syllable of every word that you speak in regard to other human beings. Well, what a load of absolute cobblers, quite frankly. Right, I think that's enough of me just rambling on. I mean, if I just sit and say nothing, then no one knows what's going on. I'm screaming inside with this happening to me. It really hurts. The very idea of being accused of thwacking a child. Anyway, there it is. Tomorrow's another day. So we have David looking on and Mother Mary looking on. Amen.